Greetings. Today I'm going to talk about an FBI records request form that I filled out for the now deceased author, Edward Abbey. So I'm doing this through the FBI's website, and I'm going to record the workflow for this because I think it's useful for folks who may need to learn to do this if they want to try and get somebody's FBI file. Now, this is the first time I'm doing it. It's a big government organization. Who knows if it's going to work? My hope is that other people will watch this and create the same request to kind of put more pressure on this organization to release these records. Edward Abbey was the John Muir of environmental writing. He wrote a really good book called Desert Solitaire and the Monkey Wrench Gang. Links to his books are linked below, and we're going to watch a little bit of an interview with him on PBS, recorded in 1982.
What is your role?
My role? I see myself as an entertainer. I'm trying to write good books, make people laugh, make them cry, provoke them, make them angry, make them think if possible. I do not see myself as a social commentator because I don't look at any of these things we've been talking about hard enough. I'm not really skilled at it. But I like to write, I like to throw words around. I have no desire to be a leader of any kind. We should all be leaders. I'm an anarchist. My father was a wobbly, IWW. We should all take charge. We should all be leaders, neither followers nor rulers. I think the majority of the people in this state and in this country are almost always far ahead of those who call themselves the authorities or presume to be our leaders. What was the last leader we had in this country? Thomas Jefferson, perhaps. Anyway, my role is just to write books. I'm not really trying to do anything more than that. Write some good books, if possible, and enjoy my life.
What do you see as being the major environmental problems in Arizona today?
Progress, development, growth, industry, using up our resource base, especially water, much faster than it can ever be replaced. And therefore, unless some sort of technological miracle saves us, I imagine that in a century or two, Phoenix and Tucson will be small towns again, and probably very nice places to live. So if we want to create a long-term civilization here in the West or North America, I think eventually we're going to have to rely on renewable resources like sunlight and grass and trees, surface water, running water. Or if we burn up the planet, then we'll, I suppose, try to export the human species into outer space, space colonies, colonize the moon, Venus, Mars. But that's what I would call real crackpot thinking, scientific utopianism. I guess if we complete the Palo Verde nuclear plant, we're going to have the biggest one in the world. Is that right?
That's what they say.
I find nuclear power very unappealing, first of all, because it's undemocratic. It centralizes control. It puts our lives and livelihoods in the hands of a very few people. And, I doubt if nuclear power would last another 10 years if we had a truly free market economy. Our own state.
What do you see the future of environmentalism being?
Well, I think it has a very good future. The worse the environment gets, the more popular environmentalism becomes. People like James Watt do us a lot of good to really spur interest in environmentalism and boost the membership in all sorts of conservation organizations. People always get concerned about things that they I think they're in danger of losing. So it often comes too late. I think America has led the way in this field. We are probably the most environmentally conscious big industrial nation on earth. Getting the parks established a little over a century ago. First nation on earth to do that. Good thing we did, too.
So there's a link to that full interview in the description below. And now we're going to go back to the workflow I used to submit this FBI records request. So I'm making sure I'm using the exact spelling from Edward Abbey's book, The Monkey Wrench King, so I get his name right. And then we need, I don't have a social security number or an alien registration number. However, his date of birth and date of death are pretty public. You should be able to find that just by Googling that information. Same with his place of birth. So I'm just going to put in what Google has in these fields. He was born in the 1930s and he sadly passed in the 1980s. His cause of death is a little controversial among his small friend group. However, I would argue that it's generally recognized that he died of complications from alcoholism. And he has quite an interesting past. I'm not going to go into that in detail, but I'll just leave it at that. So in the body of the reason I'm asking for the records, I went ahead and wrote this in Grammarly because it's my word processor of choice for things of this nature. I have dyslexia, and so it just makes it a lot easier to get the spell check done. So that's what we're doing right here. My pitch to the FBI is that we know you guys had a file on him after 1975 when he published the book The Monkey Wrench King, which is about eco-terrorism. That would make him a suspect for a large eco-terrorism event such as destroying Glen Canyon Dam, which is below the Grand Canyon, with like a fertilizer bomb in a houseboat. That's what his book, The Monkey Wrench King, talks about, and fortunately that never happened. I want to be crystal clear that I'm not advocating for that in this tutorial or this video, and crystal clear that I think eco-terrorism is not an effective way to push an environmental agenda or create more people in the environmental movement at large. So don't ever do anything like that. This is not meant to inspire anything like that. So what I do want to see, though, is his records. I want to try and verify that. So, and knowing that he died 30 years ago, hopefully the FBI would be more open to making those records public and providing those records. How do we know that he has a file with the FBI and that he was investigated? Well, his best friend, Jack Loeffler, and there's a link to his books below too. He visited the university I went to, which is Western State Colorado University, when I was studying environmental studies there. And he talked a little bit about Edward Abbey and to a creative writing class that I was taking. And during that time, he told us that Edward Abbey's phones were tapped by the FBI and that he was always under surveillance by them from the time he published The Monkey Wrench King in 1975 to the time he died in the 1980s. So the other components I'm including in this request in writing is the method of transport for the information, which is email or USPS mail, and then my willingness to pay. So I'm saying I will pay for the cost of shipping the material and processing it, and to please call and talk to me to discuss pricing. Now, in a future screen, we're going to see that we can actually input the amount of money we're willing to pay for the records request, and so we'll get to that very soon. So I'm going to fast forward through this writing process and editing process very quickly so that we can not make this too long. So just copy and paste that. Then I'm uploading this PDF document, which is as close to a death certificate as I can get, to this website. So I just copied and pasted that into a Google document from Wikipedia, downloaded it as a PDF so that I can upload it to this file server, and then go to my next screen. So that's my proof of death. This is where I talk about or choose my willingness to pay, or my agreement to pay the FBI to process this request. In this case, I'm budgeting $100. If I was super wealthy, I would put like $1 million, but that's what I could afford now, and we'll see if anything actually comes from this. And again, if you're watching this, I would hope that you would create your own records request to put more pressure on the FBI to release these records. I chose not to expedite the records because looking at the qualifications, I don't think this request meets those qualifications, so we're just going to have to get in line like everybody else and see how long it takes. Maybe it'll take a month, maybe it'll take 2 years. In any case, thanks for watching. We'll see you around.